Hey, this is Christian Roldan.
And Jordan Morris from the Seattle Sounders Football Club.
And you're listening to
This is Nos Odietis. This episode of Nos Odietis is sponsored by Full Pull Wines, a Seattle-based wine retailer and proud sponsor of Nos Odietis since 2011. Full Pull was founded in 2009, is based in Seattle, and is owned and operated by longtime Sounders supporters. They offer the best boutique wines of the world to members of their mailing list, with special focus on their home, the Pacific Northwest.
Here we go. Come on! Hey, O'Shan! Let's go!
A sideline fry! The Seattle Sounders have done it! MLS Cup winners!
Here comes Rangers through the middle to crown it for Seattle! And now they truly can start the celebrations. It's the Sounders MLS Cup.
Nicola Dero leaves absolutely no doubt! The Sounders rule the region!
Seattle Sounders is going good!
They've scored! They've scored! Finally!
This feels fucking awesome.
This is a tiny dog.
Is that what you young people call twerking?
And Porter says cheated!
We want to win. This is the Seattle Sounders, bro.
Welcome back to another episode of Nos Odietis, sponsored by Full Pull Wines and Watson's Counter. I am Jeremiah O'Shan. Joining me today to help us preview Wednesday's match against the Colorado Rapids is former Defiance head coach and current Rapids interim head coach, Chris Little. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Jeremiah. Really appreciate it. Nice to talk to you.
Yeah, so I guess let's start at the beginning, I suppose. Back in 2021, you left the Defiance to take a job with the first team at the Rapids. And, what was your hope? And it seems like it has, and maybe not exactly how you envisioned it, but this seems to be illustrative of part of the reason why you would go there is that you get these opportunities at the first team level.
Yeah, I love my time in Seattle. I cannot speak highly enough of the club and the people there. I thought my personal growth was huge during that time, and that was a lot to do with the club and the people and the opportunities I was provided. I'd been with Seattle for 4 years, and I kind of obviously I'd been a director of coaching for the academy. I'd coached in the 17s, and then I'd transitioned into coaching the Defiance. Had been very fortunate with Brian and the staff. We had a very close integration between the two teams, and had spent a lot of time around the first team. And I wanted to keep growing and kind of get out of my comfort zone and test myself at the first team level. And the opportunity came up in Colorado, and it was a really difficult decision. But one that I'd taken to go to Seattle in the first place. I'd been a Division I college coach. It was a very, very good situation, and I had a lot of stability and a very successful program. But I wanted to kind of go out of my comfort zone and test myself. And Seattle, all the timing worked out, and the people and the situation. And it kind of was that same point again. I just wanted to I felt I needed to grow and go out of my comfort zone and get a first team opportunity. And I was very fortunate to get an opportunity in Colorado, and we decided it was the right time with my family to do that. And so I've been here for 3 years, and it's been a really great experience so far.
And it should be said that first year in Colorado went just about as well as you could have imagined. You guys ended up finishing first in the Western Conference, despite not really being picked to do very well. You obviously you nicked the Sounders right there at the end.
Yeah.
What do you think went so well in that first season and maybe hasn't gone as well more recently?
Yeah, I think obviously I think you have to look a little bit prior to 21, and looking at Colorado and Robin, I think he took over kind of halfway through or toward the end of 2019. Mm-hmm. They went on a really good run, just missed the playoffs. Then in 20, they went on a good run and were in the playoffs. So there'd been a positive trajectory and a thing that was really building here. And so I think 2021 was a continuation of that. I thought there was stability in the roster. That team had kind of started to come together. There was some, there's a combination. I think you had some really key, experienced veteran MLS players like a Drew Moore, a Stephen Beitashour, Colin Warner, guys that kind of drove the locker room, set the culture, really, really good pros, and knew their role within the team. That was a big factor. Then you had some real quality. I think Jack Price at the time was one of the better midfielders in the league. I thought in 2021, we had a real good balance to the team. Austin Trusty, I think, really broke through that year and had a fantastic year, and his potential obviously now in the Premier League. So there was a lot of things, but really good cohesion in the team, good character, and it was the collective over the individuals, and there was a lot of fortune as well. I think the Sounders went on a tough run at the end of the year, which was very unusual, and we benefited from that. But a great season, and one that was really fortunate and happy to be part of. And then 2022, we started to. We had injuries to key players, as I mentioned earlier. Jack Price, the captain of the team, influential, similar to João Paulo's injury and its impact with Seattle. I thought Jack Price's limited minutes for us that season was tough, and we obviously just missed out on the playoffs last year, and as I'm sure we'll talk about, this year has been a difficult year, and currently in difficult circumstances that we all feel as though that we've let the fans down here, we've let ourselves down in not performing to the levels we think we're capable of, and hoping to kind of put some things right here towards the end of the season and finishing it on a positive note.
Yeah, so you sort of alluded to that. I guess I alluded to it as well. But a couple weeks ago, the difficult decision was made to part ways with Robert Fraser, and you were picked to succeed him as the interim head coach. I don't know, what is the mood around the team right now, and is that an awkward position for you, or is that something where is it a relatively straightforward process?
No, it was very difficult, really emotional. I think when you work closely with someone that you really trust and like and respect as a person first, and then as a coach and somebody who's gave you an opportunity, and he loses his job, it's really tough, and it was quite emotional and difficult for everybody on the staff. So it took some time to process that, and obviously things happened quickly, and I was asked to carry the responsibility to be the interim coach through the end of the season, and then you kind of have a job to do, and you have an obligation to the club and the fans and to the players. And so as a staff, then it was, okay, how can we look to turn things around? And to answer your question in terms of the mood, it was that, we'd been on a slide, we couldn't kind of break the momentum, and so confidence was quite low. And so it was, okay, let's own up to the situation. We're all unhappy with it. We're not happy to be where we are. We want to get out of this situation. What do we need to do to get out of it? And we met as a leadership group with the players, and then the team. And then the players' response to that has been fantastic, to be honest. And we had an extended training period with the international break, where we could get 10 days of training in prior to the New England game. And the players' application and their work ethic and commitment to each other has been really good, and it was really good for the players, and to get a positive result against New England, and to build some confidence from that going into this game of the Sounders tomorrow.
Yeah, I mean, it should be said, I thought you guys looked really good against New England. You win this game 2-1. You were up 2-0 up until pretty late in the game. What do you think went so much better in that game? Was there anything tactically, or is it just a matter of getting just maybe hearing a new voice or whatever it might be?
Probably all of the above, but I think that, New England was a really good opponent. I think we rode our luck a little bit. They hit the crossbar early. If they'd have scored, maybe that could have gone in a different way. But what we were really pleased about is we've conceded too many goals in transition, maybe a little bit too open, and so we've made a commitment here that we want to be a little bit harder to beat, a little bit more tactically disciplined and responsible to each other. And I think that was evident in the New England game. That there were periods of the game where we maybe didn't play well, but we restricted them to few chances in the first half. So we were kind of a little bit more difficult to beat. And then when we scored the goal, I thought that we really grew in confidence, and we had a really good kind of 20-minute spell in the game, and we were a threat in transition and grew into the game as the confidence grew. So it's really been kind of a little bit back to basics and kind of a commitment to doing the simple things well and letting our confidence grow from there.
Yeah, and something else that probably should be said is, even though the overall results have not been good, and there was this 3-game losing streak where you guys had, like you said, had sort of maybe gotten away from some of your principles. Up until then, you had been in a lot of games. You had been defensively very good. Is that something that do you feel like something changed that you lost there? And is it able to something that you feel like you're maybe getting back to?
Yeah, I think that it's all about players. So the players, the defensive side of it, we've had kind of too many 0-0 draws, right? Where you could see there's a plethora of them through the year. Where we felt as though we've defended well, we've kept a clean sheet, but we maybe haven't done enough on the attacking end. And that can come in different ways. That can, chance creation can come from, open play and build up and then balance an opponent, but it can also come in transition, and we look to put an emphasis in transition a little bit. Could be a little bit more effective and dangerous in that. And I felt that we did that in New England, and we created 5 or 6 good opportunities from transition, and we're a threat. And so just looking at some of the other ways that we can score, because in set pieces, we've always been a threat. I think we have the highest expected goals, I think, from set pieces of any team in the league. It's just not been, the conversion hasn't been there. So we know we can get goals from there, and it's just how can we be dangerous in other phases of the game as well.
So one of the players who has kind of come in and out of the team recently, hasn't been getting a ton of playing time, but it's someone that I'm sure Sounders fans are interested in, is Danny Leyva, someone who you also have a pretty long history with, working with both at the academy and second team level with the Sounders. Where is he right now in sort of his situation?
Yeah, so Danny's he's obviously came in on loan from Seattle for the season. We suffered some injuries with Jack Price being out for the year with an injury, and Brian Acosta has moved to Portland, and so there was a lack of depth in that area. And so Danny's obviously came in, and he's been a fantastic addition to the team. Obviously I've known him well and took a long time in terms of his character and everything Danny's about, and he's been such a great addition to the group. He maybe hasn't quite played as much as he wanted to, and I think it's difficult when you kind of get in that losing skid and the games are super tight. He hasn't quite had an opportunity, but his attitude and application, professionalism has been really good, and hopefully Danny can get some opportunities here in these last 7 games of the season that we have coming up.
So another former Sounder or player in the Sounder system who is with in the Rapids organization is Marlon Vargas, and I'm assuming you also have a relationship with him. How has he been doing as with the Rapids too?
Yeah, Marlon has been doing fantastic, and know Marlon very well and spent a lot of time with him, obviously for the academy and with the Defiant. And, I thought Marlon could be a good fit here after he'd finished with Defiance last year. And so he's came in and done fantastically well. Our R2 are top of the Western Conference at the moment, and that they go into the last game of the season where I think they can finish as the number one seed heading into the playoffs potentially with the right result this weekend. And Marlon's been instrumental in that. He's played really well. He's been really, really effective in transition with final passes and assists and chance creation. So I'm really pleased for him that he's had this opportunity and took it and really helped the team here.
We talked to Wade Weber a lot in the past about Marlon, and one of the things that he would oftentimes say is, I think he's an MLS talent. I don't know if it's with the Sounders, but he seemed to really believe that Marlon was someone whose game could translate to the next level. And I'm curious if what you're seeing from him and that potential, his projectability, I guess.
Yes, I agree with Wade. I definitely think Marlon has MLS ability and potential. I think, when the players get to a professional level, they all have an identity and attributes that have allowed them to get to that level, and I think Marlon's final pass, and the weight of it and the angle and the weight and balance of back line, as he did with Tacoma when he was obviously in the MLS Next Best 11, and what he's done here, that's of a high level, of an MLS level, and but having a season he's had again here, every time he does these things, he's going to obviously increases exposure, and so I'm certainly a massive fan of Marlon, and definitely think he has the potential like Wade does.
And I guess just more broadly speaking, what's your approach going into these last few games of the season, both personally and sort of the message that you're sending out to the team in terms of how you want to finish the season and sort of some of the I don't know, the benchmarks maybe that you set if maybe not making the playoffs, it's, well, we can still win games and we can still do these things. I mean, how are you assessing these last month or two of the season?
Yeah, so we had 8 games left. Now we have, after New England, now we have 7. Really, I see our approach as a coaching staff is we're here to support the players. So we're in a difficult situation. We've come together. They've tackled it head on. They've taken ownership of it. They've addressed, and we've addressed together with them how we can help them, what we think it needs to look like to allow us to be successful, and the identity of our team. And so, we have 3 of the next 4 games are at home for us. So it's really, can we build on taking a game at a time, but can we build on it and the positive and energy and trying to build confidence? And so I think after New England, it's now just really the focus on Seattle. Can we continue to make ourselves hard to beat, keep ourselves in games, and then as we're continuing to grow in confidence, we feel as though we've got some quality and some real players that can hurt the opposition, and see if we can go and get a really positive performance and result against Seattle, and before we move on to the next one against Portland.
Well, Chris, I really appreciate you joining us. It's been satisfying to see someone leave the Sounders or the Sounders organization and have and do well and have a positive influence on another team. So we definitely consider you part of the family. So thanks for doing this with us.
Well, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Thank you. Thanks, Jeremiah.
All right. I am Jeremiah Shan signing off for Nos Audietis, and we will catch you next time.
Let's win another one.